In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to spend more consciously so that you can end up saving more money. When you're in your late teens or early 20s, you already don't really have that high of an income because you're typically in an entry-level role. Couple that with economic factors like inflation and the cost of goods going up, while wages haven't really increased that much over the decades, we're in for a recipe of disaster. And I know what you guys are thinking, it's really expensive to be alive, and I do agree, which is why if we want to enjoy our lives while also being able to save for the future and set our future selves up for success, we have to be conscious of how we spend our money and how we're saving. So to become more financially savvy and aware, we're often told by experts that we need to have budgets. Sometimes budgets can feel restrictive and they're difficult to abide by, especially when you think of budgets as recording every single transaction that you make or having a long Excel spreadsheet of where every single dollar and cent goes to. And to me, that's very taxing. I don't have that kind of patience or organization skills to maintain that kind of budgeting prowess. On the other hand, we can't just frivolously spend money and hope that by the end of the month we still have money left to save. That's not an option either. So what I like to do is somewhere in the middle, and this is what I call pay yourself first. So every paycheck that I get, a percentage of that paycheck will automatically go into an investment account like a Roth IRA, a 401k, traditional brokerage, etc. Then a percentage is set for bills. This could mean groceries, transportation, rent. And lastly, we have the third bucket, which is for our wants. We want to be able to spend some money now and just enjoy life. By deciding to pay yourself first, the leftover money that you have for your fun money can really be spent guilt-free because you already know that you're setting yourself up well for the future and you're also making sure that your bills are being taken care of. A very common split between these three buckets is 50-30-20. So 50% goes to bills, 30% goes to your fun money, and 20% goes to savings and investments. And obviously this is just a template or a very general guideline, so you can fix your percentages based on your exact circumstances. Like for me, because I live at home, I don't have a lot of expenses, so my bills are at a lower amount, my savings and investments are at a higher amount. This sentiment of paying yourself first so that you can spend money guilt-free is echoed in I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. In the book, it talks about one of the author's friends who is a big partier and makes about a six-figure income and spends about $21,000 just on going out. Because he already set aside money for bills and investing, he is able to spend money guilt-free on just going out and partying because that's what he cares about. Now to me, that sounds preposterous because I would never spend that amount of money on going out ever. But for that specific person, it works because he is willing to compromise on other things. There are other areas in his life that he just doesn't spend much money on at all. Maybe he doesn't like interior design or doesn't care about decorating his own home. Or maybe he lives in a not so popular area because he ends up not being at home much anyway. So the author's friend is able to prioritize what he thinks is important in his life and use his money based on his values. And I suggest you guys do the same as well. I also highly recommend you guys to check out I Will Teach You to Be Rich, which happens to be on Shortform, who is the sponsor of today's video. With Shortform, you have access to thousands of high-quality book summaries to nonfiction books. Every week, Shortform releases summaries to books related to self-help, personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, etc. I really like Shortform's one-page feature where if you were to click a book, you get to see one page of all the main ideas that you may read about in the book. This way I know whether or not I want to spend more energy and time reading the summary or eventually even reading the book. By using my link on the screen or in the description box below, you can get an additional 20% off of your Shortform subscription. So that means you would get access to thousands of books for the price of one. And thank you for Shortform for sponsoring this video. But going back to the point of defining your values, I think that would be a major help in deciding how you want to spend your money. After all, we have to realize that money is actually a tool and not an end goal of itself. It doesn't matter that we hit a net worth of $1 million if we don't know what we're going to do with that $1 million. And spending more consciously isn't just about saving money. It's about analyzing your spending habits, analyzing what's important to you in your life, and trying to understand how to connect them. How are you going to use your money to live the ideal life that you want? Me, for example, I would like to use money to give me the financial freedom to spend quality time with the people that I care about. I also want to use money to be able to travel and immerse myself in different cultures, meet new people, as well as invest in things that'll help me feel my greatest. So every time before I make a purchase or a transaction, I question myself, is this something that's going to help me reach one of those goals? And if the answer is no, then chances are I'm better off not spending the money. Another thing to consider is that conscious spending actually becomes a lot easier once you find hobbies that don't cost a lot of money or are free. So think about it. If you have a certain amount of money that you need to allocate between all of these different things that you value and prioritize, the fewer hobbies that actually require money that you put into, the less you have to compromise between each hobby. Outdoor hobbies like hiking, going on walks don't require a lot of money. Reading and journaling are also good options. Hobbies like skiing, for example, is not cheap because you have to pay for renting equipment, having the right clothes, buying day passes or season passes, purchasing accommodation for Airbnb if you don't live nearby a mountain. All of that stuff is going to add up. And that's actually why I don't like skiing, aside from the fact that I don't really like the cold and I never really learned how to ski. The fact that it's expensive gives me another reason not to want to get better at skiing, if that makes sense. I'm sure that if I grew up learning to ski, I would probably be willing to prioritize it more, but because I didn't really ski much in my life, it's not something that I see myself investing more energy and money into because of the financial barriers that it has. Also, just because we're spending money guilt-free now doesn't mean that we don't have to show restraint every now and then. So a good idea for conscious spending would be actually allocating days where you decide not to indulge in some kind of pleasure. So maybe this means every Tuesday you're deciding not to go out and instead you're going to cook for yourself. Or maybe it means getting one less Starbucks drink per week. Now, I'm not saying you need to deprive yourself completely, but just weaning yourself off every now and then isn't such a bad idea. Plus, not having something can actually help you appreciate them even more when you do. Another tip for conscious spending is actually reevaluating the type of people that you surround yourself with. Subconsciously, you might not even realize that you are spending all of this money to actually impress people that you don't even like. An example of this could be that you're hanging out with friends who have an expensive taste. Maybe they like to wear nice clothes or they like to go out very often. So you eventually upgrade your wardrobe to match theirs, or you're buying the latest gadgets so you can just impress them, or going on all these lavish trips with them. The truth is that the people that we surround ourselves with will ultimately impact who we are as people and our wallets. So I think it's a good idea to take a step back and ask yourself sometimes, am I making this purchase because I actually want to, versus I'm doing it so that I can have someone like me more because of the things that I have. Just remember that real friends will like you for who you are and not because of the things that you own or the things that you wear. Ending a friendship with someone who doesn't value you for you may feel painful in the short term, but long term, your mental health will thank you, and so will your financial health. I hope that these tips can help you be more conscious about the way you spend, because ultimately, even though we want to set ourselves up for future success, enjoying the now is also really important. And hopefully you can, because you were actually intentional with your spending. Until next time, take it easy.